Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to really get into some fascinating subjects, drawing out the core ideas from our source materials. Today, we're looking at some ancient wisdom, exploring practices and ideas that honestly offer a pretty profound view on our inner states and, well, even cosmic events. Our aim for this deep dive is to immerse ourselves in texts about Lord Shiva and the very significant Shravan month. The material we've looked at, mainly excerpts called Lord Shiva and the Sacred Shrav month, gives us a really unique angle. It helps us see beyond just a deity, right? To understand a state of being and a really powerful time for spiritual growth.
Exactly. And the central question we're trying to unpack here is, what does it really mean to say Lord Shiva is a state of consciousness? And also, why is this Shravan month considered so sacred, so powerful for transformation? It's about getting past, the surface level stories and grasping the deeper principles.
Okay, let's dive into that because the source material right away challenges the usual view. It says Shiva isn't just a deity, but a state of consciousness. That's quite a shift.
It really is. It suggests Shiva embodies these fundamental aspects of existence itself, almost beyond form. Think of it like the ultimate stillness in the middle of all the chaos, that unshakable calm you can find. He's also shown as timelessness Mahakal, which isn't just great time, but more like being beyond time's limits altogether. And crucially, he represents destroying illusion, Maya, which leads to Shuddha Chaitanya, pure consciousness. Consciousness without the ego and attachments.
Right. So those images, we all know Shiva meditating on Mount Kailash, looking so serene, covered in ash, snakes around him, the moon crescent, the Ganga flowing from his hair. These aren't just like cool pictures. They're visual codes for these inner states.
Precisely. Every detail is symbolic. And what's really fascinating, I think, is his paradoxical nature. He's called the god who destroys in order to create.
That part always gets me. Destruction for creation.
Yeah, but it's not random destruction. It's about dismantling the old stuff. Old forms, old beliefs, illusions to make space for the new. For what's more true, it sort of challenges our basic human fear of things ending, doesn't it? Suggesting that sometimes letting go is actually how you innovate or find deeper self-awareness.
That idea, destruction for creation, feels like a perfect bridge to understanding Shravan month.
Yeah.
This period, Saawan as it's also known, falls usually July-August in the Hindu calendar. But why this month? What's the core reason it's seen as so incredibly holy?
Well, it ties directly back to a massive cosmic event called Samudra Manthan, the churning of the ocean, which, according to the texts, happened during Shravan. And during this churning, this incredibly deadly poison, Hala Hala, emerged. It threatened everything.
And that's where Shiva steps in. He consumes the poison
in
this ultimate act of self-sacrifice.
Yes, exactly. To save the universe, basically. He drank the Hala Hala but held it in his throat, which famously turned his throat blue. That's where the name Neelkanth comes from, the blue-throated one.
Neelkanth, right.
And this huge act of cosmic protection, the sacrifice, is really the heart of why devotees fast and pray so intensely during Shravan.
Okay, so that cosmic drama directly informs the practices people observe.
Absolutely. It translates directly into specific rituals and observances during this time.
So the source mentions Monday's Somvar are particularly important. People undertake the Shravan Somvar vrat, a fast, right? And offer bilva leaves to Shiva.
Yes, the Mondays are key. And then there's Nag Panchami.
The worship of serpents.
Right, which is deeply symbolic because serpents are Shiva's companions, but they also represent Kundalini energy, that coiled spiritual power within us, symbolizing awakening.
Interesting connection.
And then the full moon, the Purnima, is another high point. You have Raksha rituals, protection rites, blessings, more fasting. It's considered a time when the moon's energy is really potent for inner work.
And there are specific offerings mentioned too, like Panchamrit, that mix of milk, honey, curd, sugar, ghee.
Panchamrit, yes. And those bell leaves or bilva leaves, which are considered extremely sacred to Shiva.
Along with chanting powerful mantras like Om Namah Shivaya and the Mahamrityunjaya mantra. So these offerings, these chants, how do they tie into the overall spirit of the month?
Well, the idea is that these external actions help trigger an internal shift, a transformation. Because, and this is really important, Shravan isn't just about going through the motions of rituals. The source material stresses it's fundamentally a time of purification.
Purification. Okay, but what kind of purification are we talking about? Is it just washing away sins or...
It's much broader than that. It's multi-layered. Emotionally, it's seen as a time to consciously release things like grudges, ego, attachments, to clear the deck, so to speak, for more peace.
Makes sense.
Energetically, it's considered a prime opportunity to deepen your spiritual practice, whatever that might be, to really connect with higher energies. And spiritually, it's an invitation to practice surrender. Surrender to the unknown, kind of like Shiva himself, who's the ultimate embodiment of letting go, the supreme renunciate.
So the energy itself is different during this month.
That's the belief, yes, that the whole spiritual energy of the cosmos is kind of at its peak during Shravan, making it an especially good time for turning inward for meditation, maybe observing periods of silence.
That focus on surrender and liberation seems to lead perfectly into one of the most powerful mantras mentioned, the Mrityunjaya mantra. Can you share that with us?
Sure, it's a very profound invocation. In Sanskrit, it goes, Trambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivarnam urugomiva banhanan mrityo mukshya mamritat.
And the English translation?
It translates to, we meditate on the three-eyed one, fragrant, nourishing life, free us from bondage like a cucumber is severed from the vine, and lead us to immortality.
Wow, like a cucumber is severed from the vine. That's such a specific image.
It is, isn't it? And it beautifully captures that essence of liberation we've been talking about.
It really ties back to Shiva's destruction for creation idea, freeing us from bondage, attachment leading towards, well, immortality, or maybe liberation from the cycle of death and rebirth. It fits perfectly with Shravan's purification theme.
It does. It suggests that real freedom isn't about running away from life, but about being free within life, free from the illusions and attachments that bind us, like the vine naturally releasing the ripe cucumber when it's time. No struggle, just letting go.
So wrapping this up, this deep dive has really opened up Shiva as, well, more than a myth, as a state of consciousness. We've explored the incredible cosmic story behind Shravan and the deep purification practices that make this month so potentially transformative. It definitely makes you think, doesn't it? About how these ancient concepts like destruction being necessary for creation or purification happening through release might actually play out in our own lives, maybe urging us to look at what we need to let go of.
Absolutely. And that brings us to a final thought, something for you to consider. If ancient traditions suggest the universe has these, let's say, energetic high points for spiritual growth, what subtle cycles or maybe hidden opportunities are we missing in our own everyday lives? You know, those moments that might be perfect for self-renewal, for shedding what doesn't serve us anymore. It's certainly something worth reflecting on.